Excess cholesterol in the blood or high blood cholesterol can be serious. Why? Because people with high blood cholesterol have a greater chance of getting a heart disease. My name is Chinomso Amadi and this is Let's Talk Health. Today's focus is on cholesterol. Now the thing is, so many people are unaware that their cholesterol level is too high because you hardly get any symptoms. What are the implications of having high blood cholesterol? What can be done to rid your body of much cholesterol and what should be avoided? Well, we shall learn all of that on the Chat with Your Doctor segment. For now, let's take a quick break where we bring to you some amazing health facts. Do stay. Well, amazing facts, you will agree with me. And next is the part where I want you to be encouraged to exercise. Do stay tuned for our dose of fitness today.
I'm important, they watch cause they want to know. I know that face, yo, how you roll, they make me crazy, yo. High proportion, girl, no ratio. I done the trick, but I know this, yo. Make you do cocky, pretend you work like professional.
Welcome back. Now it's time to have a chat with our doctor. To stay with me. Hello viewers, if you're just joining us, the program is Let's Talk Health, and today we will be looking at cholesterol. And I have with me here today, I have Dr. Akeem Oyeyemi Lawal. Thank you for joining me on the program today.
Yeah, well, you're welcome.
Okay, now we're talking about cholesterol today, and I believe my viewers would have heard cholesterol, but probably they don't know some facts associated with cholesterol. So yes, we know that a person's intake of fat is important. So what exactly do you really want our viewers to know about cholesterol today?
Oh, well, first, I think cholesterol as a molecule,
Yeah.
I'm a chemical pathologist, so I'm going to be speaking some.
And I also want you to break it down for, the
All right,
layman
no problem.
out there. Yeah.
Cholesterol is one of the most misunderstood molecules, should I say, because when you hear cholesterol, you are thinking heart attack,
Yeah.
heart fat, everybody is thinking heart disease and all that. But I think it's actually misunderstood.
Okay.
Yeah, because whether we like it or not, cholesterol makes us human beings. One, cholesterol is the building block of many important hormones in the body that makes me a male, that makes you a female. Vitamin D, and so many other important substances.
Okay. So at what point does it become bad?
One of the misunderstandings, or one of the misunderstood phenomenon about cholesterol is the fact that people think that you need to avoid things like egg in your diet, butter and all that, and you're free of cholesterol. That's not true. There's what we call the endogenous pathway and the exogenous pathway in cholesterol metabolism.
Okay,
I'll break it down.
Yeah.
Metabolism just talks about the breakdown or the build-up of cholesterol. That's the compound word. And so when I say metabolism, I'm talking about how cholesterol is assembled and how it is broken down, how the body utilizes it, and all that. Okay. Having said that, in fact, there are recent papers now that talks about the fact that you don't have to focus on the avoiding eggs.
Okay.
You understand? You can take, not as if you should go and binge eggs, but you can take eggs as much as you want. Not as you should binge. Maybe an egg a day.
Okay.
Do you understand? There's now more focus on sugars. There's not cholesterol that is the problem. It's only the sugars that may be the problem.
Okay.
But in any case, like I said, what you eat, if you take much of fat-laden foods and all that, you may have a lot of cholesterol, being stored in your system. But at the same time, the liver produces cholesterol by way of what we call lipoproteins.
Okay. I think talking to me right now, I might understand you, but some people out there might not really be like, what's he talking about exactly? So I want you to really, if you're talking to someone now, an illiterate, someone who doesn't really know anything about what we're saying, how would you break it down to the person? Like, you want to tell the person excess or bad cholesterol, or whatever you're taking, your intake of this and this can lead to, you know, excess cholesterol, and this can in turn can lead to this health problem. How would you explain to the person? Because we want to know, I think my viewers would want to know, excess cholesterol in my body, what can it lead to? Health risk.
Well, when you have excess cholesterol in your body, it can lead to what you call atherosclerosis. Okay. Okay, how do I break that down now? Okay, it just means that you have a thickened walls of the arteries.
Okay.
You understand me? After some time, they narrow.
Okay.
And they can cause problems because of the
yeah.
narrowing, isn't it? All right, that's one. Now, you could also have deposition of plaques. You know, you have arteries that supply blood to, you know, all over the body. These arteries, you know what you call high blood pressure.
Yeah.
So you can imagine if you have high blood pressure over time, there's also erosion of some of these arteries. So there could be where there's erosion, you understand, there could be a plaque formation there, because the way the body works, the macrophages, some other components of blood can lead to. So if you also have high cholesterol, it could be the nidus, it could be the what do you call it now? It could be the nidus is I can't.
You don't have to break it down
Okay,
for us.
the nidus just means the
Yeah.
building block
Okay.
of a plaque formation. Do you understand me? And with time, it keeps growing until it blocks the artery. When it blocks the artery, blood is no longer supplied. If the artery is in the ones that are very, very prone to blockage are the very small vessels of the heart, called coronary arteries.
Okay.
There are also small vessels in the brain. You know, in the heart, once those vessels are blocked, there could be partial occlusion. There could be complete occlusion. Partial, you start having pain because of lack of blood supply, chest pain and all that. But when there's complete occlusion, over time, you know, blood is longer flows to that part of the heart. That part of the heart dies, what you call a myocardial infarction, and somebody can just drop down and die. A lot of, you know, we've been having sudden death a lot in Nigeria.
We've seen a whole lot of that.
It's you know, and autopsies have revealed a lot of myocardial infarctions. There's also the stroke. You see, when you are having high cholesterol, it doesn't give you a headache. It doesn't alert you in any way.
I was coming to that.
Yeah,
Any symptoms?
It doesn't alert you until when it causes the blockage
problem,
of, you know, when it causes what you call a complication. You understand? So the only way is to ensure that you do at least a yearly medical checkup, in which one of the investigations you will do is what you call the lipid profile.
Okay.
Lipid profile is an investigation among other investigations, like your fasting blood glucose. You want to know that you are diabetic. They want to check your renal function. They want to check your liver function. So the lipid profile, it's actually based on four tests that you do. First of all, it's advisable that you do a lipid profile while fasting. You must have fasted for at least a minimum of 8 hours.
Okay.
So you tell the person that wants to do the test to come the next day, stop eating by 8 p.m. thereabouts.
Okay.
You know, come in the morning by maybe 8 a.m. Or at least the sample should be taken between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m.
Okay.
You've given 8, 12, the maximum is 14 hours of fast. You shouldn't be more than that, okay? So now, talking about lipid profile, you know, what is being measured are 4 tests. The total cholesterol in the blood. You measure the HDL cholesterol. That's the cholesterol carried by the HDL particle. I was just talking about lipoprotein now. You know, you also measure the LDL cholesterol. That's the cholesterol carried by the LDL. Then they also measure the triglycerides, what is commonly known as fats.
Fats, yeah.
Do you understand? So that the 4 in that panel. Most of the time, you find out that the total cholesterol is high. It tells you there's a, you know, is high. That's usually the conventional unit is milligrams per day, or some labs report millimoles per liter. But we actually prefer milligrams per day, because when you tell somebody has a cholesterol of 400, yeah, it's alarming. Than when you say the patient has a cholesterol of 8 millimoles per liter, which is, you know, it underestimates, you know, to the patient. All right. So conventionally, even in the developed systems, you know, they still stick to that convention of, you know, the milligrams per day. Okay, so let's talk about total cholesterol, which should be like less than 200.
Okay.
So anything above 200 is high cholesterol, what you call hypercholesterolemia. Now, when you have this, you now have to look at the components to say, okay, that's the other the other fractions. Now to say, okay, this total cholesterol I'm having, is it the part carried by the HDL that is high, which is good. So when you have a HDL, high HDL is good. It's actually cardioprotective. It's atherosclerotic. Okay, it protects against formation of plaques and all that. But it can also be low. You know, cutoffs vary. For men, for women, you know, for women, cutoff is like 35. You know, if what I'm saying now changes with time, there are always ongoing research keeps changing those values. Okay, so when you have a low HDL, is a risk factor for cardiovascular disease or even stroke. When you have a high LDL, do you understand? It's also a risk factor. When I say high LDL, it's not the LDL itself. High LDL cholesterol. The full term is LDL's cholesterol, that LDLC. Then you have the triglycerides, which is like the fat, really. Now, there are 3 terms used in lipidology in talking about medical conditions affecting or cholesterol. You have what you call the hyperlipidemia. Hyperlipidemia just means that your total cholesterol is high, your HDL cholesterol is also high. It's good, but it's high. All the components are high. Your total cholesterol is high, your HDL cholesterol is high, your LDL cholesterol is high. It's not good. And your triglycerides are high. It's also not good. So that's what you call hyperlipidemia. You could have what you call dyslipidemia. All the components are high, and your HDL that is supposed to be high is low. It's actually it has a worse outcome. When I say prognosis now, you say I'm using medical terms. Okay, okay. So that's dyslipidemia. Okay, so the HDL that is cardioprotective is actually low, while the total cholesterol is high, and the LDL cholesterol is high. Triglycerides too is high. Now you also have the hypercholesterolemia. Just find out that in those 4 panels, or rather the 4 tests that makes the panel, your total cholesterol is high, and your LDL cholesterol is high. Your HDL is not low. That is either normal or high, which is good, and your triglycerides is just normal, which is good. Do you understand? So those are the 3 entities, clinical entities, when you have high cholesterol in blood.
Now, something else our viewers would love to know: what are those foods that we eat that can lead to excess cholesterol? What are those foods that we ought to avoid?
I try to give a picture to say the emphasis is not really on the food you eat.
Okay.
Because people will say avoid eating eggs, you don't want fried eggs and all that.
I've also heard of avoid eating, is it red meat or things like that.
Now, I will tell you this, that as a medical doctor, too much of everything is not good. Okay. Too much of a good thing is bad.
It's bad.
Okay. So you shouldn't, you should take things in moderation. Okay. But we, those of us that have stopped, that are in lipidology, so to speak, will tell you that there are no studies, or rather there are even studies that are like telling people that no, don't avoid eggs. It's not about avoiding eggs. Don't overindulge in taking fried things and eggs and all that. Exercise better. Go and do a checkup and do a lipid profile. If it's high, that's the only way you can pick it anyway. Then you either that you start some form of medication. And in fact, most can actually be corrected by what you call therapeutic lifestyle change. That's, I mean, if you are sedentary,
Yeah.
you try to be more active.
More active, yeah.
You engage in exercise. You try to limit your alcohol intake. You know, all the good practices, therapeutic lifestyle change. You know, if you are overweight, you're trying to reduce weight, and it can also help.
Okay, what test is that? What's the name of the test?
It's called a lipid profile.
Lipid profile.
Some call it lipid panel.
You know, the attitude of most of us, or probably I'll say lots of Nigerians, we don't really have this attitude of going to the hospital. When we don't have signs, we don't have symptoms of anything wrong, we just relax and say we are okay. We don't.
It's a tragedy, you know.
I think maybe I'll just digress a bit. Like you mentioned earlier, we've been having, you know, cases of death recently, and most of them probably heart problems. I want to really know what's the major cause of heart problems.
We used to be burdened. We are still burdened with a lot of infectious diseases. I'm talking about malaria, tuberculosis, and all that. While the Western world, you know, because of their level of development, they were no longer having infectious diseases. They were having what you call non-communicable diseases.
Yeah.
And this stemmed from the kind of diet they were taking. It stemmed from the kind of technology they were using. They were always driving cars. They were not active anymore and all that. We have also transited to that now. So in our environment now, you have people eating a lot of fast food. Do you understand? People are sedentary. Instead of you take a walk, you take your car for a very short distance. People don't go to farm anymore, where you understand what I mean? I move around the city. I'm talking about Abuja. People I see doing exercise are maybe Oyibos. You know, you understand what I mean? Either you see the real Oyibos or the African Oyibos. You know what I mean? You know, and all that. But they understand that regular exercise, activity, gives you good health, because protects against most of these problems: obesity, high cholesterol, and all that. So what we are having, what the cause of is the transition we are having. We have adopted Western lifestyles. We are taking Western diets. Do you understand? So really, that's it. We've transited, so to speak, and the only way is to go back to, you know.
It used to be to be natural, eating more fruits, vegetables.
Yeah, I think even in the Western societies, if you look at it, they are emphasizing more of greens. What I mean is that veggies. They try to keep away from genetically modified foods, all those chickens with all those hormones. Everybody now say, okay, there's a term they call, I can't remember now. They say there's a term they call those foods that have been grown by natural methods, no artificial and all that. Yeah. So I think it's good for us to patronize, you know, the mango you buy and you eat, you know, raw, than the fruit juice made of mango that is concentrate and all that. Yeah, it's all part of the old setup. Do you understand? So that's just it.
Okay. All right. Very quickly, Dr. Lara. Just lastly, before we wrap up, just one little advice for the viewers today on today's discussion.
Cholesterol is much misunderstood. But high cholesterol in blood is a modifiable risk factor. That means it's something can be done about it, and you can achieve normal cholesterol. But first, you have to go and have a test done, what you call a lipid profile, before you know whether you have high cholesterol or not. And when you do this, you protect yourself against possible outcomes like you know, heart attack and even stroke. So my advice is for you for viewers to cultivate the habit of doing regular medical, at least once a year. It's not too bad.
All right. Thank you very, very much, Dr. Lara. Nice having you on the program today.
It has been a pleasure.
All right. Well, the program is still Let's Talk Health, and it continues just right after now. To stay with us. Well, that was it with Dr. Lawal. I bet you've been educated. Like I always tell you, staying fit, keeping healthy, do whatever it is you need to do to stay healthy. That's it on our show today. I hope you enjoyed having time out with me today. Well, for your comments and for your contributions, for your questions, you can reach us on our social media handles. You can see scrolling on your screen. At Twitter, you can reach us at TalkHealthPTV. For Facebook, facebook.com/Let's Talk Health, and Gmail, letstalkhealth@gmail.com. Or you can send an SMS to the number on your screen right now. From me to you, I'm saying, like I always say, do stay healthy and stay alive.